the Children's Theater Workshop, and we're the owners of the Ohio Theater. People sometimes have a misconception that nonprofits aren't allowed to engage in political activity. I'm specifically wearing a shirt that represents myself as a member of the Children's Theater Workshop staff because that's not true. I am not allowed to advocate for an issue, bill, or candidate, but I can absolutely speak about things that are considered political on behalf of the Children's Theater Workshop, and I will do so, as well as on behalf of myself as an individual citizen. So, for some context, since not all of you are diehard Children's Theater Workshop fans, but you will be when I'm done talking. Children's Theater Workshop is a nonprofit youth theater. We've been around since 1954. We were started by a combination of the American Association for University Women and the Toledo Junior League. We've been around for 71 years, providing theater education programs for kids all over Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan. We're one of the oldest children's theaters in the country. And what we do is not rooted in sending kids to Broadway. What we do is rooted in social-emotional intelligence, wellness, empathy, creativity, connectedness, and all those things that make being a person worthwhile. I've always said that theater kids are the best people in the world. The second greatest people in the world are people who used to be theater kids and are just now grown-up theater kids. And I'll tell you why. When you come to a children's theater program, you're expected to do things that are very scary. You're expected to do things that I think are probably the three scariest things a person will ever do in the arts, which is show up to a culture that's already been established. You will get up and you will speak in front of people, and you don't know how well you're going to do. And someday you're going to stand behind a curtain, and you're going to wonder if you're going to be okay going out there and showing what you've got to people that you don't know. Theater kids are some of the bravest people I know because they're constantly doing things that they're not ready for yet. Theater kids are the kinds of people that I want to see in charge of the world. They're the kinds of people that you're going to see bringing things together like Toledo persists. They're the kinds of people who understand empathy and storytelling. And when I saw that Senator Warren talk about sharing your story, that made my heart lift because we are all inherently storytellers. When you come into a theater program, you have to practice radical empathy. If you've ever been in a program where you have to pretend to be somebody else that you don't understand, you have to take on a character that you don't even necessarily agree with, you have to trace back everything you can imagine or understand to understand where they're coming from. The questions that our kids ask as a result of the characters they take on bring us to remarkable conversations. Questions can range from, why does a bully act like a bully? To, I don't understand how being trans is real. To, but why do my parents act like that? Things that we all understand that young people deal with, and we are so ready to fight. In my experience, it is a lot easier to fight with anger and righteousness than it is to quietly answer the questions of a child. Remember who we are fighting for? When we speak with our anger and our righteous rage, we are absolutely allowed to do that. This is a time and place for righteous anger. But what I always tell the kids at the Children's Theater is, punch up. Always punch up. Never punch sideways unless you have to, and never punch down. What I appreciate about what Senator Warren said was that we need to have conversations to move the needle. Continuing to speak with righteous wrath to the people who are in power over us, who are mistreating us, who are ignoring us, who are stripping us of our rights, who are stripping us of our protections, who are separating us from each other, absolutely. But what I've learned in the last 6 months in particular is that there are so many people out there who are very confused. In my family's group chat, I asked my mom and my sister-in-law and my sister, how many of you are ready to say that? None of them knew what I was talking about. They had all changed their names and were completely unaware that their voting rights were in danger. Speaking in anger is one thing, but that should be aimed at the powerful. if we all take the time to speak to each other with preparedness, gentleness, and actually making sure that we take care of each other here on the ground, then that's going to make just as much difference as speaking truth to power. That being said, I'm so grateful for the people who are being brave, who are standing up and finally saying, no, this is not okay. I'm watching people that I've never seen do extraordinary things, gather people up, marching, leading protests. But I'm also watching people who never felt like politics were in their purview finally paying attention. Hearing my mom tell me that she had a shaky voice when she called her senator for the very first time and asked him not to vote for this budget was one of the most important moments of my life. This will only happen if we actually come together and speak, all of us. I think I saw a statistic that said if 6% of the country protested, that's like the statistical average it would take for some kind of change to happen. That's so few of us. So I'm really excited to see things like Toledo Husted happen, because that means that we can actually come together. The Children's Theater Workshop is a kind of organization that is under attack just like everybody else. Since February, we've lost $25,000 in federal grant funding due to the work that we are doing, and the administration decided that what we do is not appropriate for their priorities. We lost a $5,000 grant from the Ohio Humanities Council because we were doing a play about the Vietnam War protest movement, and they cut that funding off. Is that ironic? Yes, it is. Our kids were amazed. We brought in history teachers to talk them through this documentary theater piece about the real experiences young people had protesting the war movement in Vietnam, and the war in Vietnam, and the protest movement on Ohio campuses. They were shocked to make the connections between the 1960s and today. We decided to go ahead with the program anyway. We lost a $20,000 grant from the National Endowment for the Arts because we were taking theater programs to Washington Local and Toledo Public Schools. Our teachers shared with us at Washington Local that the theater programs that their kids went through this year was the only thing they felt good about this school year. It's hard to be a young person in public school when you don't have a place to fit in. Sometimes theater is the thing that makes a difference. And not everybody understands the importance of the arts in terms of where we are. And that's something that I accept. I'm a theater person, we get it. But here's the thing, as a children's theater, we are part of an ecosystem that we all belong to. The kids who come here are on Medicaid. The kids who come here are on SNAP and WIC. The kids who come here have IEPs. They have 504 plans. They're the kinds of families who rely upon these social systems in order to be okay. And we see these children not be okay every time they come through the door. In the Vietnam play that we did, it's a documentary theater piece, so they were reciting the words of other people who had been there in the protest movement. One of the lines was, "In the eyes of the government, I am the enemy." We had a young trans child provide that line in our show. And she said it with her whole chest. These kids don't understand why their adults are letting this happen. Nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something. And I'm so thankful for all of you who are coming together to do something. Because if we don't all do something, this will continue. And we are the only ones who can stop it. There is no one coming to save us but us. Thank you. Because I am sick, I will not be staying. I was told that if anybody had any questions or comments, I should open the floor now because I won't be able to stay. Yes, hello. So the Children's Theater Workshop, we have two programs. We have the Children's Theater Workshop programming, and then of course we're finishing up the restoration of the Ohio Theater. So those are two things that we're working on. The Children's Theater Workshop is ctwtoledo.org. We have a donation tab there. I also believe that we have a couple of QR codes in the lobby area that can be used to make donations to the work that we're doing. Thank you. That's a very lovely question. All theater kids are the best people in the world. I will stand by that. Thank you. I'm going to hand it back off to Jerry.
Our next speaker tonight is Dennis Plotnick from Climate Reality. Dennis has a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Michigan and a Master's degree from Wayne State University. His employment as a national park interpreter, naturalist, and high school biology teacher has seasoned him to be a fine orator and competent in the natural sciences. He has taught environmental science and biology for 31 years. He was instrumental in establishing wind energy in the Oregon City School District and is presently installing solar panels in the Ann Arbor area. His interests include all sciences, especially evolution biology and environmental science. He's a political activist with Toledo Move to Amend, Single Payer Action Network, Climate Reality Toledo. Dennis tends to an organic garden, enjoys skiing, bird watching, hiking, and kayaking. Welcome, Dennis.
I'm so pleased to be here tonight when everyone is sitting up close because I have something to show you that is a little bit small. But my voice can be big because I speak sometimes the back of the classroom. People toward the back, you can hear me okay? Yes. Okay. My background is in science, and I'm deeply concerned about the political science. Today, I'd just like